Hey, does the idea of getting your beautiful business in front of hundreds, if not thousands more of your ideal customers excite you? No need to answer that. Of course it does. Then join Dale Beaumont and me as we detail the 7 steps to creating a highly profitable partnership. Pen and paper at the ready, team. Now, before we get carried away with episode 369 of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, the marketing gold that's about to rain down on us all is made possible thanks to Cornerstone and 52ways.biz. Now, 52ways.biz is a free one-day live event that's filling up fast, hosted by small business expert Dale Beaumont, who joins us on this show today. And it's for business owners who want to grow. Grab your free tickets over at 52ways.biz before it's too late. And we're also made possible thanks to the very good folk at Cornerstone, which is an Aussie-owned, family-run outsourcing business based in the Philippines. In fact, I love what they're doing for small business owners so much, I own part of the company. If you need help getting stuff done without spending a fortune, call Cornerstone on 02 9037 8275.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show, where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to the Small Business Big Marketing Show. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, but you, infinitely more importantly, are a motivated business owner and you are ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it deserves to be. If not today, then when? Great time to start. If you're a long-time listener of this show, then you probably started a long time ago. Well done to you. And if it's your first time round, a big, warm welcome. Big show today. Dale Beaumont joins us, and he's going to share 7 steps to creating highly profitable partnerships. This is a masterclass. This is not a podcast episode, it's a masterclass. He also shares another productivity tool to make your life a whole lot easier. I share another low-cost marketing idea that's all about ensuring you have ridiculously consistent branding. And we go back into the vault revisiting a past yet very inspiring episode. As per usual, team, there is G.O.L.D dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. Hey, I am doing this, FYI, from my hotel room in Cairns. I'm about to speak to 700 tradies tomorrow at the Cairns Exhibition Centre. It's called LaserCon. It's a conference put on by the Laser Group. You might remember I did an episode a few months ago, almost 12 months ago, in which it was all about racing car sponsorship. Well, the business that does racing car sponsorship as a marketing strategy is putting on this conference tomorrow, and I'm the opening keynote speaker. Pretty chuffed about that. Thank you, Steve, the owner of Laser Group. Hey, I also wanted to thank you, if you're one of the many listeners who've kindly left a listener review on the Apple iTunes store. You know, I can't respond to them. iTunes just doesn't allow it. It's a one-way street. But I read every single one of them. And at the time of doing this, there's 368 on the Apple iTunes store. And I'm really stoked about that. Not only does it boost my ego, and that's not hard, it boosts my rankings as well. So thank you. And if you haven't left one, would love you to. Now, let me see. What's this little button do?
What have you got to lose?
That's what it does. It's time for one simple yet effective marketing idea that you can implement immediately. One that's not going to cost you a fortune and that might just generate you more awareness, more inquiry, and ultimately more sales. Yeah, I call today's idea the brand consistency hack. Does your business present itself consistently across all its touch points? Is the logo you use on your business card the same as the one you use on your website? Is the copy that you use on your sales brochure the same as what appears in your sales letter? Are all your social media headers the same? If at this point you're starting to cringe knowing that this isn't the case for your business, then don't stress. You're not alone. I am amazed at how many businesses I come across whose marketing touchpoints look as though they've been created by 10 different people and a couple of animals. Harsh but fair. And often they have. With all good intention, they had a logo designed by a graphic designer, but then they had someone else create the stationery and another person create the Christmas card and someone else the signage and so on and so on. Get the picture? Well, if there's one thing we can learn from the top end of town, it's that brand consistency is critical. That's why the big boys employ brand managers. Look at Apple. Their website uses the same design and copy cues as their stores, as does their packaging, signage, instruction manuals, and so on. Having a brand that presents itself consistently across all marketing touchpoints doesn't have to cost any more, and it's bloody good for business. So, here's my 3 steps to creating a ridiculously consistent brand. Step 1. Conduct an audit of every marketing touchpoint in your business. In fact, pull them all together and blue tack them up on a wall. If that means printing pages of your website and your brochures and all that, do it. Step 2, cringe for just a moment as you realise how embarrassingly inconsistent they are. Step 3, bite the bullet and employ a graphic designer, a web designer, and a copywriter to go through with a fine-tooth comb and get everything back on the same page. And here's the pro tip. Don't underestimate the power of this exercise. As I mentioned earlier, all the big brands do this as it establishes a sense of familiarity amongst your precious prospects and customers. There you go. That's my 3 steps to creating a ridiculously consistent brand. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/369 where you'll find some additional resources to help you bring this idea to life, including where to find copywriters and designers to get you on your way in case you don't have them on your team. And if you'd like some help implementing any of the marketing ideas I share in this segment, and there's been 35 so far, which you'll find in my blog over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, then go ahead and join the Small Business Big Marketing Club over at the same link, where I'll personally support you daily on your marketing journey. So, what have you got to lose? Coming up after today's interview, we revisit a more recent episode from the Small Business Big Marketing Show's archive that made me incredibly envious. But right now, let's meet today's successful business owner, Dale Beaumont of Business Blueprint. Now, you might like to grab a pen and paper. I've got to tell you, as you are about to be given the 7 steps to creating highly profitable partnerships. This is a masterclass, as I said at the top of the show. It's not a podcast episode. Now, Dale has been helping businesses grow for over a decade with his Blueprint membership program. He's also the brains behind the 52 Ways live events. I attended the Melbourne one yesterday, and boy, oh boy, it was incredible. If you've got the opportunity to go to one in one of the other states or in New Zealand, seriously, it's a free day of just like mind-blowingly good content. Now, what I love about Dale is his unwavering commitment to helping business owners create a business and a lifestyle they love. Plus, he practices what he preaches. Every business building idea he shares, he's tested in his own business, including this partnership one that we're about to go through. If you'd like to learn more about Dale and the huge success that he's created in his own multi-million-dollar business, you can go back to episode 176. He appeared on this show years ago. Because in this chat, we get very specific on one particular marketing strategy around partnerships. It's a strategy that both Dale and I have been using effectively for years, and seriously, you should too. So, I started off by asking Dale, what's the best business partnership he's been a part of?
Well, yeah, I've done lots of partnerships over the years. You know, my clients are all small business owners, SMEs, so you've got to ask yourself the question, who already has those clients? So over the years, we've done a lot of partnerships with accountants because they have a lot of small business clients. We've also done partnerships as well with a accounting software company as well, and also a company that specialises in business insurance as well, that all have tens of thousands of customers on their books, and we've been able to come up with some partnerships that have been very fruitful for both sides.
So why those ones? Notice you weren't too specific there by mentioning names, by the way. Is there a reason for that?
Oh, I can mention some of the names,
Yeah.
but one of them is Biz Cover, which is the biggest sort of insurance company as well.
Yeah, right.
You know, we're in talks with a couple of different accounting software companies right now. We've done some work with Reckon as well, and a number of other different, and also my.
So what was it about those partnerships that made them so fantastic?
Yeah, I think when it comes to partnerships, the great thing about it is that they're lending effectively like they're endorsing you to their clients.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes with that trust that they have already built up over years and years and years, then gets transported to you.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other benefit of it is, unlike other forms of marketing, which are becoming more and more expensive, other than time, then it's free. You just need to make sure that you are able to, you know, some of the smaller ones you can do in a matter of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the bigger ones might take 3 months to sort of 6 months.
Yeah, well,
especially if you're dealing with corporates as well, and you need to lock yourself in for at least 6 or 7 sort of meetings and cups of coffee, which can become quite frustrating after a while, but they can be very, very rewarding.
Certainly for me, a partnership that this show has really benefited from has been Virgin Airlines.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen that, and that probably took, I'm going to say 6 months, where, it was a bit of back and forth. No really long meetings. I mean, they heard my show. They thought they didn't have a business show. That this show now goes out on Virgin domestically and internationally, and I can see a direct line from audience growth. In audience growth, it's been amazing, right? And that was a perfect partnership. Not everyone who flies Virgin is a business owner, but clearly there's enough to see an increase. So they work. So define partnership for me.
So the partnership is really where two companies come together for mutual gain. They realise the fact that they both share the same clients, but they're in very different businesses. And if we use an example that many people know, we can take, for example, McDonald's and Disney. They sort of worked out 20 or 30 years ago that McDonald's was never going to get into the movie business, and Disney was never going to get into the fast food business, but they both share this common this common market of families and kids. So, you know the story, how it works, that you go in to buy your kids a Happy Meal, and then there's a big, character on the outside. It could be The Incredibles or something like that. Then kids fall in love with this character. It oftentimes comes with a little toy, and then so they're playing with it for the next few days or weeks, and then the ads start coming on for the movies. They thought, oh, that's that little character. Let's go to the movies. And then while they're at the movies, normally there's, within 2-3 minutes of most cinemas, there's a McDonald's as well. So then they go get the next character, and the circle kind of continues. So, the fast food drives movies, and then the movies drives fast food as well. Another one that many people know would be Nike and also Apple as well, where they've kind of formed a partnership together to grow each other's businesses. And then, of course, closer to home in Australia, you've got obviously the big supermarkets now that are doing that have now taken over a lot of the petrol stations, and they're giving the dockets that then you go into the supermarket, you then get the next docket to go back and get fuel. And so they're creating that sort of loyalty but there's partnerships really all around us, and you'll probably start seeing them more and more now that you've
got to ask. Do you use the fuel docket? Does Dale Beaumont use the fuel? Come on.
To be honest,
honest show.
To be honest, I don't. I really don't. I'm happy to suck it up and pay whatever it is. They always go to use flybys. My wife uses all that stuff, and when she does the shop, and I kind of feel like, if I'm going to do it once every couple of months, there's no point. But I probably should.
Well, I chase the Virgin Velocity points. I go to BP now instead of, being a tight ass that I am. Hey, poor old podcaster and stuff. So, okay, get it. So what we want to do now is walk through 7 steps to creating a partnership that gets you more. I suppose you've got part of the steps is define what outcome you're looking for, right? It could be more clients. It could be more sales. It could be more email addresses. I don't know. Is that a step?
Yeah, so I think that we've quickly established the why you'd want to do this. It's like putting your business, kind of into overdrive in terms of marketing.
Okay.
And the philosophy behind partnerships are, you got two choices. One, you can either go out there and try to find 1,000 new customers, and so you're walking out to people, do you want to buy, do you want to buy, do you want to buy? That's hard work if you're having to have 1,000 conversations. Instead, you might have 5 or 10 or maybe 20 conversations, and you identify a marketing partner, and that's someone who has 1,000 customers, and they're happy to endorse you to their 1,000 customers. So it's a mindset shift from stop looking for customers and start looking for partners, because each partner is just one person, but they can lead you to 100, 500, 1,000, 10,000 potential clients. And these aren't just any clients; these are clients that have been that comes with an endorsement as well. So not only are they're more numerous, but also they're normally that rapport and credibility gets transferred to you. So these are oftentimes, warmer leads as opposed to just going out to people and they don't know who you are from a bar of soap. But, if Virgin's saying this guy's good, then, okay, I'm going to pay attention.
Yeah, right. We could even use the word amplification here, couldn't we?
Absolutely.
That's what this does.
Yep.
Right?
So not only is it...
Have you got any other geeky words just to get out before we lead into the 7 steps of creating an effective
I really
partnership?
like kind of like leverage,
Leverage,
being able to leverage your marketing efforts. Optimize, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and also it's also good for your brand as well, because, no one likes to do business with someone that's kind of untested, but if you, on your website, and you should promote your partnerships, if you go to one of our websites, we'll talk about it later on. I know people have heard of 52ways.biz, which is an event that we run. But if you scroll down at the bottom, it's got our partners include, and there's logos there. So even if nothing else, it just shows the fact that I'm gonna have some guarantee that if I work with this company, they're not going to be a fly-by-nighter, or they've got some credibility. The fact that they're working with these other brands, they must be good.
I keep saying we're going to lead into these 7 steps, and we will. But what comes to mind is this is not a commonly talked about marketing strategy yet. In my experience, your experience, and other business owners that I've seen embrace partnerships, it's unbelievably effective. So my question is, why are there a lot of business owners still sort of conundering, I don't even know if that's a word, conundering over Facebook ads or going to a network event when they could be actually spending 2 or 3 hours nutting out an ideal partnership?
And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this interview, but it all comes down to, we've never been trained. We've always been trained to you want more money, go find customers.
Yeah,
and so
mindset.
The mindset is around going, okay, you'll get customers, but find marketing partners. Find the one person that's going to lead you to 1,000 people or 5,000 people or 10,000 people. So it is a different mindset shift, and it's also around, this strategy is also called influencing the influencers. If you can influence an influencer, then they're going to be able to promote you to lots of people.
Do you think, Dale, the reason many small business owners don't chase this strategy is because it feels like it's going to take quite some time, whereas if I just go and chase a customer now and they buy, then I've got a sale?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's the kind of short-term gain versus, kind of... And the analogy that we could use here is it's like carrying buckets of water instead of building a pipeline. If you want to go get some customers, you go get some. But it's still manual. It's still, you're never any further ahead, because you've got to go find the next customer, the next customer, the next customer. And the moment you kind of get busy and you stop finding customers, then you run out of fresh leads. But if you're building a pipeline, if you've got someone that, like, I've got a partnership with an accountant, and once a month I do a webinar for his clients. So I've got 12 different topics. He just intros me, I promote, so every single month we're getting a flow coming in of leads, because that's kind of like building a pipeline. We've got an agreement over 12 months. I'm going to add some value to his business, and in return, he's going to send qualified customers my way. So that's it's just a mindset shift around. It does take a little bit more time, but when you think about one partnership could lead you to hundreds or thousands of customers, it actually, in the long run, medium to long run, will save you a lot of time, a lot of effort. Yeah,
a lot of time. Okay. Listeners, talking to Dale Beaumont, past guest of this show, founder of Business Blueprint and a wonderful live event series called 52ways.biz, which I'm attending tomorrow. Very excited about this.
Yeah, it's a one-day event, and it's awesome.
No doubt.
52 strategies in one day.
Yeah.
And anyone...
52 strategies
just
one day. Come on.
It's fast-paced. It's action-packed, and people really love it.
Okay, well, I will be reporting on that next week. But let's get stuck into step one of creating an effective partnership.
So step one is you've got to know who is your customer. Who do you want to kind of reach? Oftentimes in marketing now, the term avatar has kind of become synonymous with helping you to get really, really clear on who are your ideal customers. Now, I know you talk about it, we talk about it all the time, but still a lot of business owners have struggled to identify who their customers really are. You know, you ask them, who do you market to? And they say, well, everybody, you know. Yeah. So that's a real kind of problem because it's very hard to identify, go into the step number 2 and 3 if you don't know who it is that you're actually looking for. So take some time to get really clear on what does your ideal customer look like. You can look at some of the demographics, you know, what gender, what age, you know, what location do they live in as well. Then you could look at things like their status. Are they single? Are they married? You know, do they have kids? But then also some of their sort of more psychographics as well, like their fears and frustrations, their dreams, their desires, their things that they are frustrated by. So all of those things as well kind of make up a description of who your ideal customers are. So if people are struggling with it, I just say, look, pull out a pen or jump on your computer, just start writing a page, start writing and keep writing a whole page. And if you force yourself to just go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, you really start to develop a profile of who your ideal customers are.
And there may well be someone in your friendship group or your wider community that you go, oh, that person they are my ideal customer. She's everything I want in a client. So if that's the case, then work your way backwards. Go, okay, she's the ideal client. What is it about her that you love?
Yep. You can pick a person, or you might pick 10 of your top 10 clients and look at what are the things that are consistent, commonalities around those people as well. The other thing you can do as well, a lot of people don't know this, but it's just on location, but you can go to your credit card company and ask for the postcodes of the people that have actually spent the most amount of money with you.
Oh, wow.
And so you can actually start to see where your customers actually are. And you might find that they might come from 2 or 3 suburbs.
Just let me get clear there. Your credit card company is going to give you something for free.
Yes.
You want to retract that?
This, I know we have done this with American Express.
Right.
And so it comes, I'm not too sure if MasterCard and Visa offer it as well. But we basically were able to get a printout of all the postcodes where our clients actually come from. And we can see it broken down by kind of density as well, which was really useful.
Demographic, it's useful.
Yeah, it's one of the
Your
factors.
psychographic stuff is so much more interesting, isn't it?
Totally.
In regards to your business and understanding your ideal customer, what have you got? Have you got some photos of different types of people, or have you got a one-pager that describes? What have you got?
Yeah, so we've got a customer avatar, and the main one we have is called, and we've even given him a name, called Middle Mandy, and we also have Startup Sally, Middle Mandy, and High Flying Harry.
Right.
So we actually have 3.
Yep.
So ours is kind of like a little bit of a bell curve, where around 20% of our customers would be startup entrepreneurs, people that are deciding, that's it, sick of working for someone else, and I really want to break out and start my own business. So oftentimes, as opposed to people in their sort of 20s and 30s, a lot of our startups that we work with are people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. Sometimes we call them even late bloomers. They're people that have become unhappy working for someone else.
Cubicle escapees, Dale.
Yeah, that's
Cubicle
right.
escapees.
And really want to get out there and give it a crack. Yep. And so that's Startup Sally, and we've got a whole profile and description of what she looks like. And there could be a male as well, but we given them these characters. And then we have Middle Mandy, and Middle Mandy is someone that has been in business for probably 10 to 15 years, doing somewhere between maybe $500,000 and maybe $1 million in revenue, 4 or 5 staff. But really, their biggest problem is they just have no life. They're working too many hours. They just are really in the trenches sort of every day, and they've kind of been doing this now for a decade and going, I'm really sick of putting in these hard hours. There's got to be something better than this. And so how do I get out of this sort of rat race, and how do I get a business that can finally start to give me some of the freedom and the time that I really deserve? And then you've got High Flying Harry. And High Flying Harry is someone that has probably been in business for maybe 20 years, been really successful. But the problem is their business has been built for another generation. And they've got oftentimes very old sort of systems and very kind of poor sort of marketing. So they want to upskill, they want to upgrade and build a business for the future.
So knowing these profiles, I'm guessing, leads into step 2 of building an effective partnership, which is, now that you know who you want to appeal to, do you then ask yourself, who else has the eyes and ears of these
Exactly.
avatars?
So number 2 is then who has these customers.
Great.
So now there's a few interesting techniques that you can use in order to come up with this as well. So the first big question is who already has your customer? Now you know who you're looking for, who already has them. So you might already think of some brands that come to mind of things that they buy or places that they shop or things that they also need and spend money on. Another question you can ask, which is quite interesting, is who has your customer before you and who has your customer after you? So if you think about it, if you're in the kind of the middle, there's a bit of a lead up before someone will come and see you. For example, if you're a weight loss coach, maybe they go to their doctor first and their doctor sort of says, look, blood pressure's a bit high, carrying a few too many kilos. I think you really need to see someone. There's someone that's local that's a weight loss coach and I want to put you guys in touch. So that's maybe a doctor, for example. It could be a naturopath, or it could be someone that has your customer before you. So what is the lead up to someone going, you know what, I need to work with this person? And then also the other thing is, which is quite interesting, is who has your customer after you? Because when you work with someone, you solve a problem, but in solving that problem, you actually create another problem. Yeah. And they then need to go elsewhere to actually find those kind of like answers. So for example, in our kind of business, we've helped a lot of people become successful and make more money, and oftentimes they then sort of have a problem with regards to sort of tax, or they might be looking to invest. Now, we don't do any investments in our company, but we then send our clients to other people that they can go to get advice around structures or tax or those type of things. Now, we're helping them, so they should be helping us. So we now have partnerships with those people to reciprocate, because we're sending them clients anyway. Like another one is a lot of people come work with us and they then realize the fact that they need a new website, or they need to get onto Google Apps, or they need to move to a cloud-based accounting software. So who has your customer before you? Who has your customer after you? Now, one more little technique, and then we can move on to the next point that's also useful, is going, what magazines does your avatar, does your ideal customer read? What kind of magazines? Then go and buy these magazines.
It's a bit old school, but we'll keep going.
Yeah. But now you're not going to look at the articles. You're going to look at who's advertising in those. Who's advertising. So who's trying to reach those people? So all of those people that are advertising in business magazines, in my case, they're all potential partners, because they're the ones that are paying good money
I like that,
to advertise to people. So if you're...
We could probably extend that into websites and...
Exactly. Who's got banners, who's got banner ads on those websites. But the magazines are still, if there is a magazine in your particular industry, who's advertising or who's running Facebook ads in your industry to try and get to your customers.
When was the last time you bought a magazine?
Actually, about 3 days ago, supporting one of my friends, Lisa Messenger. Lisa Messenger has a magazine called The Collective, and so she oftentimes sends me copies, or when I catch up, she gives me a bunch. But I try to collect every issue. She got Jamie Oliver on the front cover of her latest.
Oh, she didn't meet him, did she?
She did. She met Jamie Oliver. They had a photo shoot together.
Not having. Yeah. There's a bit of bromance between Jamie and I. He doesn't know that,
right?
But what a marketer! Hey,
he's amazing.
Amazing. Another conversation altogether. But wow, that's cool. I mean, I facetiously said, when was the last time you bought a magazine? But that said, cycles, right? Everyone's online. Magazines kind of get read. Yeah, you could argue.
You can, and
you've done a little segment on my show around maglogs.
Magalogs, absolutely. Something physical. Magalog is like a cross between a magazine and a catalogue, and they're really, really powerful. It's basically like putting a salesperson, in print, and magalogs can be really effective.
I love that. When everyone else is yelling, whisper.
Yeah.
I digressed. So we have so far identified who our ideal customers are. We have gone and identified who has the eyes and ears of those customers. We've gone and bought some magazines to see who's advertising in those magazines in the industries in which we are interested. Exactly. And now we've got a long list.
Yes. So we start our list, and normally what we do with our list, you break it up into businesses and industries. So if you think of a business, and it could be, for example, Snap Printing, then you go, great. Now, what industry are they in? Well, they're in printing. What are the other types of printing businesses. So you could put down Vistaprint, and you could put down, Officeworks and a whole bunch of different ones. So once you identify a business, then sort of chunk up, find out what industry that they're in, and come up with at least 4 or 5 other alternatives from that same industry. Because when you're doing partnerships, if you can sort of be negotiating, create some competitive tension, say, look, I'm in talks with this company, and this company right now we're looking for the ideal insurance provider. I'm currently talking with Suncorp, and I'm also talking with RACV, and I'm talking with this company as well. We need to move this
Play
forward.
them off.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always good to have at least 4 or 5 in each kind of area.
Okay. So step 3 is to make contact with them, or
So step 3
is simply to go and expand on
in my model.
the
Before we
industry.
get there, so step 1 was around know who your ideal customers are. Step 1, who already has them, and develop your list. So that's all part of step number 2. Step number 3 then is, before you start to, let me tell you a story
Love a
first.
story.
Okay. So I was at this personal development seminar once, and this lady was sort of talking about, finding your ideal customer. Finding your ideal partner, right? So it's like a relationship sort of workshop, and if you watch the movie
Pre-marriage
The
days,
Secret,
Dale, or-
pre-marriage
okay.
days, a number of years ago. If you watch the movie The Secret, it'll basically say, get really clear, the power of your thoughts, know what you want, blah, 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 write it down on paper and look at it, visualize it every single day. And she's like, that's bullshit. She said that before writing this list of, I want someone that's tall, dark, and handsome, blah, 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 and this list of who your ideal partner is, instead write a list of what qualities, what attributes do I have that's going to attract a partner like that. So before you think what you want, think what have you got to give? Because maybe you might want someone that's tall, dark, and handsome, but maybe they don't want you. So that's where you have to think before you think about, when you go into partnerships, like, I want you to email to my database, I want. What have I got to give?
Nice.
So you've got to think about, this is where you do a bit of an audit, a bit of a sort of a stock take, and you start to think about, what do I have to trade? Because that's really what a partnership is about. I've got some assets and you've got some assets, and we need to come up with a way that we can trade some of my assets for some of your assets, and we both win out of it. So that's where you got to think about, what do I have to offer? So it's kind of quite interesting, and we can come up with some ideas here.
And I would have thought too, just speaking of doing that audit around assets, I would say to anyone listening who's thinking, I'm quite liking what Dale's putting down, that there'll be assets in your business that you might not attach value to, but others would.
Yep. And the first one that we can jump right in there, and I know you're a big believer in this, is knowledge. You're also, every person, as you say, is sitting in a mountain of knowledge, that's in their head.
Yep.
And so one of the things, for example, is the knowledge that you have. So it could be articles that you've written. It could be things like maybe videos that you have produced, or the fact that you can stand up and you can speak, or you can do like a webinar, for example. Because one of the types of businesses that I do partnerships with is like accountants. Now, accountants are great accountants, but oftentimes get them in front of a room full of people and have them actually speak. Hello
to all you accountants out there.
They oftentimes really struggle.
Yeah.
So I basically have approached a number of accountants before and said, how about we put on an event for your clients? We'll call it like a client appreciation event. We'll invite your clients along, and they'll get 2 hours of awesome content. And so what we will do is, all you got to do is give a 30-second intro, and then I'll come up and I'll do the speech, and at the end you just thank everybody, and then we'll go have drinks.
Happy days.
So that's all they need to do. So what we're able to do is use an asset that I have, which is my ability to speak or my knowledge, and what they have, what they're bringing to the table is their list and their customers. So that is where we've formed a great exchange. So one thing that you could do as well is that you could You've got your database of your customers that you have as well. You could have point of sale materials that you might have, or you might have the ability to give people a show bag when they purchase something as well, or it could be an over-the-counter, coupon that they might give. You might be able to create a stand in your shop, to promote someone, or it could be kind of like a wall where if you go into a doctor's surgery, there's brochures, there as well. You could look at doing something along those lines. So some people that have physical businesses have in-store real estate where they could actually have a corner of their office, or they could have a wall dedicated to exposing their customers to potential complementary brands as well. So if you really start thinking about it, you realize that you want to come up with at least 5 things that you've got to offer, because different things will motivate different people. Another thing as well, you might even be able to offer a financial incentive. You know, if someone said to you, okay, how much would you be prepared to give away? Would it be 5%, 10%? Some businesses could be even more depending on your margins. So that's another asset you have. You can actually give people a commission.
I can see where this is going because in classic sponsorship parlance, which is this is sort of similar. You're partnering up with someone. It's like, what have I got and what do I want?
Yes.
Right? They're the two questions. You answer those two questions and you're off to the races.
Exactly.
So right now, you've got us detailing an audit list of what we've got to offer a potential partner. And I'm guessing you would keep referencing back to that list. So the insurance companies that you listed, you might have different things for them than you would for the printers that you're listing, right? So it's not going to be one list fits all. Could be. Let's not complicate it because we want people to embrace this strategy, but you could kind of get quite micro in the way you decide what have you got to offer, right?
And I know that we went, into the digital. We talked about magazines before, but we then talked about Facebook ads. You know, even the fact that your Facebook, if you have Facebook Pixel installed, even your remarketing audience is something you can now trade as well. So I could say, Tim, I'm happy to do a Facebook ad to anyone that's visited my website in the last 6 months. And that could be, what I'm going to, you might pay for the actual ad spend, but what I'm going to do is give you qualified people that have been pixeled. So now that even becomes a commodity that you can trade as well.
Brilliant.
So come up with at least 5 things. If you can't come up with 5, you're just not trying hard enough. Go deeper, look around you, see what assets that you have, maybe even talk to a few friends because sometimes you don't even realize the fact that you've got all this knowledge in your head or you've got so much experience or you've got videos lying around or you've published a book before that's just sitting in your garage. Everyone has assets. Think about what they are.
Talk to other business colleagues. I'm feeling like this could be a really good brainstorming session for 2 or 3 different business owners to sit down, go through this episode and actually literally stop. Okay, what do you got to offer? What do you got to offer? And help each other articulate. Because sometimes, as you say, we don't see what's right in front of us, but others do. Step 4.
So step 4 is then you're going to decide, you need to be clear. What do you want? This is your time to actually say, what do you want? And what you need to do.
My daughter's very good at this. Can we just get her on the phone?
Exactly. Kids are very, very good at knowing what they want. But the reason why it comes after is because a lot of times we just focus on what we want, not on what we have to give. And so it becomes really sort of self-serving and people kind of realize the fact that you're going in and you're just looking, what can I get, not what can I give? But once we're ready for that, you do have to be clear. What do I want? And what are the best actions that are going to lead to growth in my business? So if the question I'd ask is, if I was to wave a magic wand, Tim, and do any action for you that was going to help and improve your business, what would that one thing be?
Yeah, right.
Well, in an ideal world, I'd love you to send an email to your database with this particular link. Great, that's awesome. But what about if for some reason I don't have a database or I've already got my schedule booked for the next? What's the next best thing that I could do for you? And say, well, the next best thing is that you could give a book to every single person that comes along to one of your events or whatever. So what we need to do is come up with at least 5 things as well that would benefit me. Maybe we could do a video together and we send it out to our database, or maybe you could give out a flyer to every single person that comes along to one of your events. And this is, from my friend Dale Beaumont, here's a gift or something along those lines. So come up with at least 5 things that are going to add value to you. It could even just be sharing content. Like if they maybe aren't prepared to send out an email linking people directly to my website, well, maybe I'll do a guest blog post on your website. And then as long as I give great content, maybe at the end, then I could say, hey, if you want to find out more, then click on this link and come to the website. So come up with at least 5 things that you're prepared to give and at least 5 things that is going to add value back to you.
Does it need to be equal? Does it need to be 5 for 5, 4 for 4, or it could be I've got one really big need?
Yeah,
I've got 5 gives.
I probably think you should probably at least have five gives, and you could limit the number of needs or wants. Maybe down to 3. But the thing is, you can't just have one because maybe they say no, it's not going to work, or we don't do this because. What else have you got? And you got to think on your feet and go, well, this would be ideal, but if we can't do that, we could do this, and if we can't do that, we could do this. Which one's the easiest? And they can go, oh, look, I can get sign off for that tomorrow, but this one's going to have to take 3 months, and they're going to have to do this, and it's too hard and too difficult, and we just want to move forward. So that's number 4.
Love it. So just in case listeners have tuned in, but you don't really do that on a podcast because you start from the start and work your way through. But what Dale Beaumont and I are doing is working our way through 7 steps to creating highly profitable, highly effective partnerships. We've identified who we want to sell. We want to partner. We've identified who we want to sell to, our ideal clients. We've identified ideal partners. We've figured out what we've got to give. We've figured out what we'd like back. And now we're up to step 5.
Okay, so the next one, number 5, is then make contact. And what you need to develop is a contact strategy.
I'm starting to sweat now because this involves getting past Dobermans and having your pitch right and so many things.
Yeah.
Not that I want to put anyone off, but like true, right?
This is where a lot of people then get, and they stop.
Yeah.
So what I want to do now is give people maybe 4 or 5 different ideas about how they can make contact, because you might go, I don't want to pick up the phone, but I can do this or I can do that. So let me give people a few options, and you come up with a strategy that kind of works for you. So one of them is to pick up the phone and actually have a chat. So what we could probably do is even give some examples of what you could say on the phone that might kind of help. So oftentimes, if I was talking to an accountant, for example, I might go, hey, is this, Tim? Yep, great. Over the years, a lot of clients have asked me, do I know a good accountant? And over the years, I've just been telling them to go to Google. However, I'd rather actually send them to someone that I have an existing relationship with. Can I ask you, are you looking for more customers right now? So that's the magic question. Do you want more customers right now?
Right.
And the person's anyone is going to say, well, of course. And then you're going to say, okay, well, great. Well, before I can refer business to you, how about we have a coffee and get to know each other and then see how we can, how we can help each other both ways. So the key thing there is just to keep it short, really, on the phone, and say over the years, a lot of people have asked me, do I know a good X? So you could, be a dry cleaning business or whatever, and over the years, a number of people have asked me, do I know a good tailor?
Yeah, sure.
Because you've dry cleaned something and maybe there's a rip in something. So, and at the moment I've just been saying, sorry, just go to Google or I can't help you. But I'd really love to actually send them to a tailor that I have a relationship with. So would you like some more customers? The person's going to go, yes. Well, how about we get to know each other a bit better and find out how we can help each other grow? What
do you say to those listeners who are going, sounds good, sounds a bit slimy though, a bit sleazy?
Yeah.
Or is that just me?
Yeah, if you really think about what your intention here, you're generally going, I want to, I've got customers and you've got customers and we're both in non-competing businesses. And if you want to just do straight talking, you can just say right up front, we share the same customers. We're not competing. I'm not going to become a tailor. You're probably not going to become a dry cleaner overnight. So how about we catch up and I can see how we could actually make this a win-win partnership for both of us.
Love it. Straight talk.
Straight talk. Anyone that...
no big words.
Yep, no big words. And the question then is, are you looking for more customers? And if, great, well, I've got, customers that I'd love to send them, someone that I know, as opposed to just sending them to Google.
Okay, so we've picked up the phone. We're asking if we want more customers. What's another way of getting through to
we can do the same thing, but on email. But on email...
Can I just pause, Dale? Who are we trying to get to here?
So oftentimes it depends on the business. If it's your small business to another small business, then you're just talking straight to the owner. Right. If it's a major company, then oftentimes it's the CMO who looks after marketing in these bigger kind of companies.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it depends. If it's really just around digital, it could be like a digital marketing officer, or otherwise you could go straight to the top. The CMOs normally where you'd talk to. So the other one is email. And again, same thing on email. What you should not do is do a big long email saying I've been in business for 25 years and I've got all this experience on these awards and blah, 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 blah. And it's simply a matter of, and there's even a strategy around this called short, personal, and expecting reply. So most emails are long, they're impersonal, and they don't expect a reply. So flip that around, make them short, make them personal, expecting a reply. Hey, Tim, just wanted to see, are you looking for more customers right now? Question mark. Dale. That's it. One line.
I love it.
One line.
I love that. It's the 9-word email.
Yeah. That's right.
So I sent one today.
Yeah.
In fact, I sent it before you came in. So I'm quite excited because it's actually with a potentially big partner.
Nice.
So I'm excited to see whether this person bites.
So very short, 1-line email. Are you looking for more customers right now? Question mark. And the they're probably going to be confused. That's totally fine. They're going to say, well, why do you ask? Or they're going to say, what do you have in mind?
They're going to reply.
Or they're going to reply. Yeah, they just can't not reply to an email like that.
How can I not reply
And then you would say something along the lines of that... so they reply back and say, yes, I'm looking for more customers right now.
And you go,
tell me more.
Got ya.
And then you would probably say something along the lines of, can you tell me a little bit more about your customers and the type of customers that you're looking for, ? And once they get back a second reply, then your reply to them is look, Tim, rather than going backwards and forwards on email, how about we make a time to have a quick chat on the phone?
Gotcha.
So, and after they've replied, they can't not reply to that email because it's like now they know that I actually have replied, so I can't kind of just pretend I didn't get the email or it's the wrong address. So now they have to have that conversation. So that's another strategy
Genius.
as well. Another
Like that
one
one.
is go to trade shows. The reason why is because companies oftentimes invest, $5,000 to go to a trade show, and they oftentimes have some of their heavy hitters there as well. So oftentimes there are representatives from the marketing teams kind of there, and you might just go and have a chat.
My first ever sponsor of this show, I went to a small business trade show.
Yep.
I identified Net Registry as having the best stand in this expo. They'd spent a lot of time, effort, money. They just stood out, and I went up. I met the marketing manager, and they were with me for 4 years. So it's a great one. I like it. I like expos.
So another one is strategy, which is like lumpy mail or shock and awe packs or things like that. This is where you send something physically in the mail.
Love it.
So over the years, there was one particular person that I went on his LinkedIn profile and found out he's a mad rugby fan. So I got the latest Australian rugby jersey, and it cost me $150. But again, that relationship has turned into tens of thousands of dollars. So that was well worth
I like
it.
that.
I've also heard of people that have actually sent people a shoe, just one shoe in the mail. And with a little card saying, "Hey, now I've got one foot in the door. How about you allow me to get my other foot in the door?"
I love this.
About this. I've had people that delivered. I haven't done this personally, but one of my clients delivered like a fish bowl, and it was something like, if you're going fishing and you don't have any bait, then so it was something along this kind of analogy of the angle he came up with. Another one which has been really good as well, shock and awe pack. This is really cool. I think it's called Budsy, and basically what I could do is take a photo of you on my phone, and I could send it to a company that will make a doll of you. And it costs around about $100.
Stop it.
So it's a doll of you, and then I could put it in a box, and I could send it to you, and you would go, oh my God, and you're going to pick up the phone, and guaranteed you're going to give me a call back.
Budsy.
Yeah, Budsy.
Australian?
It's an American company, and I'm waiting to find someone in Australia. If someone's out there that wants a business idea, I will send you hundreds of clients if you can make dolls of selfie photo, get their LinkedIn profile, send it to them, and they will make a doll based on your face.
Shock and awe.
It's amazing. So that's a shock and awe pack.
Okay.
So you've got the phone call, pick up the phone. You've got short, sharp, expecting reply email, the one-line email. You've also got going along to trade shows as well. You've got the shock and awe pack, which can be really good. Or the other thing that you could do as well, which I know you've used many, many times, is to become a content producer, launch your own podcast or have your own digital magazine and call them up and say, hey, I'd like to interview you for the magazine. And that is a great way to, cut through all of the gatekeepers, and you then have half an hour of time where you really do a good job in adding value. And then at the end, they're going to be curious, who are you? Tell me more about your business. And now, you go, well, let's catch up and let's talk a bit about how we can help each other.
I could talk about that for a long time, Dale. I won't. But suffice to say, the email subject line and interview request ... gets opened and responded to 100% of the time.
Yep.
Because we like to talk about ourselves.
Totally.
Right?
Yep.
And I'd never started this podcast as a way of getting in the door, but it's got me in the door, right? I mean, look at you sitting in front of the great man. Hey? I'm honoured. So, okay, we've got 5 ways of getting past the Doberman, and making contact. We've spoken about, because there's 2 parts to that. There's the medium, which is shock and awe, or phone call, or email. There's the message in there as well. Now, you touched on that because it's like, do you want more clients, or we just go straight for the jugular and say, hey, listen, you and I share similar clients, but we're not competitive.
Yep.
But just have your pitch right. And we've spoken a lot about pitch on this show.
Totally.
I've had what was his name? Oren Clef, or is it?
Yep.
Yeah, the pitch guy. So very important. And again, and I struggle with this. Like, don't be verbose. Like, less is more.
Yep.
And I'll shut up now.
Yep.
Step 6.
Okay, step 6. Step 6 is what I call do the dance. And this is whereby there is no, at this point, you're having a coffee with them, or you're chatting with them further on the phone. You're a scheduled meeting, and now you're kind of trying to work out how we could put a deal together. So normally at this point, what I find is it's all about it's just asking questions, and it's just about showing interest. And so why we're having this conversation, because we both share clients, but we're not directly competing, and we're going to see what we can do to help each other grow. So I'd then be going to question mode, and I just starting to be asking questions. So things like, tell me a bit more about your business. How did you get into that? What are some of your goals over the next 12 months? What are your most effective ways to get customers? Have you done any partnerships or strategic alliances before? They might say, yeah, I've done a whole bunch of them. They're great. Or they might say, never done them before. So they might need to be educated a little bit. Another thing I oftentimes ask is, what would really help you
Can
right
I just
now?
pause there? That's interesting. Educating a potential partner on partnerships, because they might not know this strategy.
They
so
may
you
not.
could actually come clean and go, you know what I'm doing here? Let me explain.
Yeah.
In fact, can we just play this podcast episode and we'll talk after that?
Exactly.
But that's interesting. So, you don't assume that your ideal partner knows how powerful a strategy this is.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a really good one for me, question to ask to get a bit of a gauge of where they're at. So if you have done any partnerships before, on one end of the spectrum, they're going to go, what's that? Never heard of them. And on another end, there's we've got tracking links set up, and you can go online and you can register, and there's someone that's got it all kind of figured out.
Yeah,
and
wow.
they're my hardcore affiliate marketing and all that stuff. But there's some of people in the middle that go, yeah, I've done a couple of those over the years. And then I'll just say, well, what happened with them? Or how did they go? Or what worked and what didn't work about those partnerships? So I just become like a bit of a detective, just asking questions and really showing genuine interest. Then I would start to sort of go fishing a little bit and start to ask some more direct questions, like, do you have a database? And how many people do you have on the database, if you don't mind me asking? What system is it currently in? What do you use? Do you use MailChimp? Do you use, Infusionsoft or ActiveCampaign? What sort of system do you use? I'm kind of starting to think about now, is this person going to be able to send an email? You go to some accountants and they're like, oh, I don't have a database.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you running a business? I send them a Christmas card once a year. So I'm like, okay, here we go. So we now have to think differently around what we can do there. How often do you communicate with them? If they kind of go, I'll communicate with them once a year, I'm kind of like the likelihood of them just sending out an email out of the blue and going, hey, by the way, this guy's really great, is probably going to be a big ask, because they don't understand the importance of communicating with their customers. But if they're like, oh, look, we communicate with our customers every week and we're always looking for, useful information to share, then I can probably go, okay, we might be able to get an article in there, or maybe they can do some type of, hey, here's a great report, or get two chapters of Tim's latest book or something along those lines. And then oftentimes I would say another question I ask is, when was the last time you gave your customers a gift? And they'll probably say, never.
Yeah.
Great. What do you think they would think if, when they purchased a product from you, you said, here's a $20 gift voucher to our friends down the road that do X, Y, Z, and they do a really fantastic job, and here's $20 that are on us. What do you think they'd say? Well, they'd probably say, well, it's awesome, or fantastic, or thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Well, how about we did something like that, where we actually gave every single person that bought from you a $20 gift voucher to say thanks? So this is whereby I'll ask that question. When was the last time you gave them a gift? And then what would you think your customers would say? So what we're sort of doing is painting a picture, or building that kind of future around them actually seeing this as a great opportunity. And then they're not just doing it because they have to, but they're doing it because they generally are helping their clients, or they're giving them something of value. And another thing is then I'd ask, how would you like me to add value back to you in return? And then where would you like to go from here? That's a good kind of question. So I think we should formalize something, or I think that we should, get this set up, and then they will kind of inevitably sort of ask me, so what were you looking for? And then I'll start with, number one, what's going to do the best for me could be this, and number two would be this, number three, number four. I wouldn't go through them all at once, but I'd sort of go with the one that I know that's going to add the most amount of value to me, because if they go, sure, I'm happy to do that, then great, we've got a kind of a deal. And I've been finding out what's important to them and what would make a difference. And so that's what I'd say, how about I run a webinar for you once a month in exchange for you doing this, or how about I give a gift with purchase in exchange for this? I'll send an email out to my database if you can give every client a $20 gift voucher. So what we're basically trying to do is, I've got on one side I've got a list of what I want, on the other side I've got what am I prepared to give, and what I'm trying to do is create a match.
Love it.
Whereby it might be number 2 for number 4, or number 1 for number 3.
And that's the dance. And that can be done, face-to-face ideally, but it can be done over the phone, over Skype, however way it's going to be most efficient, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So that's where you would find something that's going to go, yep, that'll add value to me, and I go, yeah, that'll add value to me, and then go, well, let's trial it for 3 months and see how it works, and if it works, well then kind of like draft up a kind of agreement, and we might run it for longer, maybe 12 months, and then we'll review after that. How does that sound? Gotcha. So number then 7 is basically seal the deal. So after you've done the dance, then we come up with an agreement, and normally it's just simply a matter of, I'm going to go back to the office, Tim, I'm going to type it up, and I'll write down very clearly, this is what I'm prepared to do, and this is what you're prepared to do over what period of time, and if we just hold both of our ends of the bargain, I think this would really work for us. What do you think? Yep, sure, great. So I go back, I'll type it up, very, very simple, don't need to go to the lawyers or anything like that, just here's what I'm prepared to do, here's what you're prepared to do, and let's review it in 3 months' time, and if it works, we'll kind of expand it, or we'll just keep doing it for longer. So that's number 7.
Partnership locked and loaded.
Seal the deal, yeah. And then you just go, great, now that's the works, so then I'll go and do another partnership with someone else and another partnership with someone else. So if you could sort of try to get one partner, if you one of the actions was just try to get one partner a month, then after 12 months you'd have 12 partners. And if they were sending you 5 clients a week, not a huge amount, but if you had 10 businesses, that's 50 new clients a week that is just flowing through. The phone's ringing, emails are coming in. These are what I talk about, building a pipeline. You don't have to go, oh, gee, I need more customers. I'm going to go out there and crank the marketing engine up. You should just be having a flow of clients coming in on a regular basis.
Thank you for sharing 7 steps to highly profitable partnerships. You have got a 52ways.biz event tomorrow in Melbourne. You've done, this will be the 3rd or the 4th in...
Yeah, around the country. We've done Adelaide and Perth, and then we've got Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane as well.
What stood out for you? Has there been an aha moment where you've been up on stage, someone's asked a question, or you've shared something where you've gone, yeah, that landed?
Yeah, there's lots of points that kind of land. I think
because you've been doing this for a while, right?
I've been doing for nearly 10 years that I've been running workshops and events for business owners, and I've kind of been banging on for a long time talking around how, like I remember talking about Facebook when it was like only 18 months old.
Wow.
Talking about social media, the rise of social media, and what is it and why it's important. Even things like Google AdWords when they first came online as well. So I was an early adopter of all this technology, and I found that a lot of people were still just not really trusting these new kind of mediums. But I saw recently that between Facebook and Google, they now control 85% of all online advertising spend is between 2 companies. And so if you want to stay relevant to your customers in the future, everything's moving, and a lot of it's from offline to online. And if you're not embracing things like Facebook and Google and many of these other tools, you're really going to get left behind. So I think I don't really have to try as hard anymore in convincing people about why they need to get on board the digital revolution, why they need to start using more modern forms of marketing, because people are feeling it. They're just knowing the phone's not ringing, or there's just not enough people kind of coming through the doors anymore, and they know that they got to do something different. So people are coming there going, all right, I'm ready now.
Yeah, that's right. You're no longer having to shove it down their throat, but you are having to. They know. They haven't necessarily taken action. It's interesting. Yeah. It's like when I talk about podcasting to an audience. They're now, most of them have heard of the term podcasting. Most have listened to a podcast.
Yep.
Then the numbers get smaller as to someone who's subscribed to a podcast ongoing. But it's changing, and most know that, hey, this is a valid medium, and maybe even as a business owner I should podcast.
Yep.
And that goes for any other social media channel. It's a changing world, hey?
It is.
Hey, Dale, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks so much, Tim.
I love talking to you, and it's practical stuff, like people can now hit stop and go and send like a rugby jumper or a what was it called, a budsy. A budsy. Hey, I got to go and find that. Love it. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks so much.
Well, there you go, team. Business blueprints and 52ways.biz's Dale Beaumont. Now, are you feeling overwhelmed? Well, don't be. That's why we broke this chat up into 7 steps. So just start at the start and work your way through, because it is such a very, very good marketing strategy is partnerships. Coming up, I share my top 3 attention grabbers from that fireside chat with Dale. Plus, I'll give you a sneak peek into next week's guest. But speaking of overwhelm, is it time you outsourced some tasks to the Philippines? I think so. Support for this show comes from Cornerstone, an Aussie-owned, family-run offshoring business based in the Philippines. One of the great fears business owners have about offshoring is whether the people are suitably qualified. which may be a little unfounded. I asked Cheska, Cornerstone's marketing manager, to share her background.
I was a consistent university scholar. I was a president's lister and a consistent college scholar as well. So I graduated magna cum laude. And
That's with a high five, right?
yeah, I know. You've been waiting for that, Timbo.
It was a build-up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I graduated magna cum laude and I ranked second in the whole university.
Cornerstone, where the idea of employing someone smarter than yourself is not just encouraged, but welcomed with open arms. Start working smarter now and employ a virtual marketing assistant. Visit cornerstonebusinesssolutions.com.au or give them a call on 02 9083 6689 and tell them Timbo sent you. Oh, I do like those Cornerstone ads. Okay, my top 3 attention grabbers from my chat with Dale Beaumont from Business Blueprint, thanks to 52ways.biz and Cornerstone. Attention grabber number 1, Budsies. I love the idea of Budsies. Dale showed me a photo of the one he'd been sent and it just looked exactly like him. It's brilliant. Sending someone one of these is a great way to get their attention. What did Dale call the tactic? A shock and awe package, I think it was. That's a good strategy in itself. Feel free to send me one. PO Box 989 Mount Eliza 3930. Attention grabber number 2. Get clear on what you have to give before you put your hand out for the ask. Now, this is pretty much true of anything in life, right? Gary Vaynerchuk also talks about it at length in his seminal book on social media called Jab, 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 Right Hook. Jab being a give and the right hook being the ask. And you've got to give a lot more jabs than you do right hooks. Attention grabber number 3, the power of partnerships. You know, in my experience, this is a very, very underutilised marketing strategy, yet one that has the potential for such a big impact on your business's growth. So if you liked what Dale had to share, then please implement it and let me know how it goes for your business. Hey, what grabbed your attention? Let me know. smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/369 is where you do that. Well, just when you thought we'd finished with Dale Beaumont for the minute, think again, because it's time for him to make your life a whole lot easier.
Life just got a whole lot easier.
Hi, it's Dale Beaumont here from 52ways.biz, the best one-day business workshop ever, with another productivity tool to make your business life a whole lot easier. So the tool I have to share with you today is called Upwork. Upwork is a crowdsourcing tool where you can get jobs done by people from all over the world. Now, the way that these sites work, they work like a reverse auction. So rather than bidding the price up, people actually bid the price down. So what am I actually talking about? Well, what you need to do is go there, set up an account. Once you've done that, you can then start posting jobs. So jobs could be anything from designing a logo to getting some copy written, maybe designing a PDF document, or hundreds of other things. You can find out a lot more suggestions on the website itself. Once you then post your job, candidates, workers, freelancers from all around the world will bid on your project. But like I said, rather than bidding the price up, they bid the price down. Then you can select a person that you feel comfortable with. You can check out their references, you can check out their experience. There's also star ratings as well. And then if you like them, you can give them the job. That money then sits in a holding account, and when they've completed the job, then the money gets released. That's a little overview around Upwork. If you'd like to find out more, then come to one of our live events. There you go. I told you life would get a whole lot easier. This has been Dale Beaumont from 52ways.biz. Now, back to you, Timbo.
Life just got a whole lot easier.
Hey, thanks, Dale. Upwork is a great way to dip your toe into the amazing world of outsourcing, or if you already are, to get a whole lot of marketing done without spending a fortune. Hey, if you're loving the productivity tools Dale's sharing, then you're going to love his upcoming live events, which are touring around Australia and New Zealand over the coming months. 8 hours, solid, business building gold, great opportunity to network with like-minded people. It's just a bloody good day out. You can grab a free ticket for you and a mate over at 52ways.biz. That almost wraps up another episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, but there is plenty of marketing gold coming your way in the weeks ahead, including a chat with a woman who's building a shoe empire in the middle of nowhere. But it's not just any shoe empire, I've got to tell you. More on her next week. Recently, I had a fireside chat with digital nomad Mark Phillips. He and his wife Linda run 2 six-figure businesses, yet have no fixed address, live in a tent, and stay nowhere longer than a week or so. As a result, Mark says the quality of his work output has never been better.
I'm more happy with what I'm delivering. I'm discovering my own creativity is bringing forward opportunities that I wasn't seeing a few years ago, and my clients haven't seen them.
Oh, that was a lot of fun, that interview. They really are living an amazing life as they travel the world and build those six-figure businesses. Hey, I'd love to hear from you. Email me, tim@timreid.com.au. Just say hi, feedback, comment. Maybe there's someone you'd love me to interview. Maybe you'd like to appear on the show. Pitch me. I don't know. Hit me up on Twitter @TimboReid. Join the Small Business Big Marketing Facebook page. There's lots of ways to connect. Let's do that. Hey, be sure to grab your free seat at Dale Beaumont's 52 Ways event. It's a ripper. Plus, if your to-do list is freaking you out, then it's time to start building that team in the Philippines. So give Cornerstone's David Warren a buzz on 02-9037-8275 or visit cornerstonebusinesssolutions.com.au. If you love the Small Business Big Marketing Show, then let other business owners know about it. Grab their phone, download it into their podcast app, hit play, plug the phones in, pat them on the head, send them on their way. Until next week, I am Timbo Reid, always have been, always will be. Thanks for tuning in. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.